Guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today I'm doing a review of a newer deck that I have gotten called the Tarot de la Nuit, which is Tarot of the Night in French. And so this deck is by Alexandra V. Bach and Carol Ann Eskenazi. Eskenazi. Just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. And first, I just want to show off this gorgeous box. So look at all the silver foil that is on here. Like now I'm really noticing the intricacies of like boxes and decks and guidebooks. Since, as you know, I'm going through my own oracle making process, making my own deck of cards and, you know, working on the box, and actually I'm working on the guidebook right now. But anyway, let's take a look. And so it has this lovely little cap top, you know, so it keeps your cards nice and safe. And this was published by Lo Scarabeo, which is the scarab. So I was able to get this off of Amazon for a relatively good price. So let me put these down for now, and let's take a look at the guidebook. So first of all, just want to get in nice and close so I can show you guys how beautiful it is. And I just want to say that normally this is not my style, you know, to take actual photographs of people and then, you know, Photoshop it to tarnation. Like that's usually not my thing. However, like the Star Child and the Moon Child, I do like the collage effect, but to make things so that they're almost otherworldly is usually not my cup of tea, but we'll get into why it's just speaking to my heart right now. Okay, so the book was written by Carol Ann Escanci, or Escanci, and the artwork by Alexandra V. Bach. So 2018 just came out. So in Lo Scarabeo fashion, of course, we have this in different languages. So this talks a little bit about the deck. I love backgrounds on the deck, and I promise when I make my oracle deck, actually I'm writing my guidebook right now for my oracle deck, that I want to put in background. I love to hear like how people came up with their decks, you know, so I always love a bit of background. And it's talking about, you know, although this is called the Tarot of the Night, that Gothic doesn't always have to mean scary, because then that means that maybe we fear our shadow, and our shadow selves and the darkness shouldn't be something that's feared, because it's just part of the balance of light and dark, and the balance of you know, our outer world and our inner world. Okay, so they go into the cards and then right into the cards. So a little bit of explanation. So like, let's say you pull the High Priestess. It has a little saying at the top: intuition is my wisdom. So I am the guardian of unconscious. Come to me, for at my side you will find wisdom, knowledge, understanding, awareness, and illumination. And it goes on. I love the writing. It is so beautiful. I don't usually consult my guidebooks. I mean, I do sometimes for certain oracle decks, but I'm an intuitive reader. However, I did love reading through this guidebook. I love adding to my vocabulary for my readings, and then it has some keywords down at the bottom. And so it does that for basically all the cards. And then let me just get to the back here, some of our last pages. Here we go. We do have a spread, and it's called the Night Spread. So I always appreciate when guidebooks have a little spread, not just your general like Celtic cross and 3-card spread, but I like a specific little spread that, you know, comes with the deck, and I will be doing that with Wally's Oracle. So yeah, it's lovely. So if you do end up getting this, definitely check out the guidebook. It's worth the little read, you know. Okay, so let me put this back in here. And the deck does come with its little title card here, Tarot de la Nuit. And I want to show you guys the backings while I'm here. And you can see it's not just purple, but there's a lot of design going on in here. And they are reversible for those of you that read reversals. I myself am not a reversals reader. However, I do interpret the cards based on my intuition if it were reversed. So I just kind of feel like if this is like the shadow side of the card or, whatnot. Okay, so let me put this back here. And then there was actually an extra card. I got 2 of the 5 of Pentacles. And it's interesting because the 5s, and actually as I say this, we're 5 minutes in, the 5s have been coming up for me a lot, quite a bit, in time, looking at license plates. There's 5s everywhere for me right now. And so when I got this deck and to have 2 of the 5 of Pentacles, I was like, what? Okay, I understand, you're sending me signs, okay? So anyway, I just had to show that off. Okay, so let's actually take a look at the cards. And I do want to mention that with any of my deck reviews, it's just because I love images, I love art, I'm a very visual person. And so, and by the way, this is your standard tarot size. So I just want to share beautiful art, and I just want to put it out there. And we know that art is subjective. Well, this is my kind of art, and so I just want to put it out there. And like I said, typically this would not be a deck that I would gravitate towards. However, after seeing some of the images online and watching the review of the beautiful Queen Auset, also known as Oyas Girl, here on YouTube, she was like, this is normally not my style either, but if you get it, she's like, you would like it. And so I was like, well, it's not, it wasn't, there's the 5 of Pence again. It wasn't expensive on Amazon. It was actually very reasonable. So I was like, okay, give it a go. And when I brought it home and I started looking into the images, it's like it's pulling me into an instant meditation, like a waking meditation. Like I feel like I'm inside the cards and I'm inside whatever universe this is. And I've been getting some really deep readings. I don't know yet if I would use this to read for others. Maybe I will. But for now, this is for me, and I'm getting some very powerful readings, and I don't want to put it down. Yeah, just the insights I've come to about myself, and certain ways of thinking and certain things that I've been doing have been really helpful by bringing them to the surface, and this deck has been able to do that. So yes, it is highly photoshopped, but I don't know, something about these images, mixing reality with this fantasy, I don't know. And I have been working with this Tower card, as not something to fear. I've actually been calling on Tower's energy. Normally we're like running away from the Tower, like, it comes up in a reading, like, can I pull a different card? But with using this deck and bringing so much to the surface, yeah, I'm working with the Tower. Okay, this has to be my favorite card in the whole deck. Maybe it's because, end of October, early November, we are going to be celebrating Dia de los Muertos. And of course, we will have another party at my friend's house, which it always is off the heezy when we are celebrating our ancestors and bringing them food and drink and just talking about stories. It's always a lot of fun. But yeah, that's my favorite card for right now. Just so interesting. And this one, whoo, this was a powerful card. Normally it's like, oh, okay, the 3 swords in the heart. But for this one, having the blade here, there's a dead bird that she's holding. It's just, there's so much going on. It's like not just your standard symbolism, like for Rider-Waite-Smith, although you can read this as Rider-Waite-Smith. There's so much other stuff going on. I can't even explain it. Like here, the other night I was meditating on the 9 of Pence, and I was like being brought into this snowy world, and it was just, fabulous. I know that Queen Auset was talking about, having diversity in this deck, and or the lack of diversity, and obviously wanting decks that have more of it. So if you're somebody who wants more diversity, this deck wouldn't really have it. There's a lot of just mostly of the same ethnicity in here. But, it's kind of a fantastical world. So I don't really see them as like, your everyday folks. Like, this is not a person. That is something else going on that has been created. So, in most of these cases, I don't even think they're like people. Yes, they used models in here, but it's like, to me, they're like these otherworldly beings. This one too, I don't know, it's just so, wow. You know who that kind of reminds me of? I mean, it's ambiguous. It could be male or female, but to me, that looks like the actor that plays Loki in the, Avengers, Iron Man series. So I'm like, whoa. Not my Loki, though. Not my Loki. And actually, I pulled this card today for my peeps over on Patreon. Okay, so let's put these cards back together here. And people always request that I shuffle the deck so that people know how it shuffles if they were thinking about buying the deck. But, there's no pressure here. I'm not trying to push decks onto people. You could read nature. You don't even need a deck of cards. There's so many things just out in the world to read, signs and symbols and whatnot. So I'm going to just ask for a general reading for anybody who's watching this. I'm just going to pull 3 cards. So here we go. We're going to go 1. Haha, yes, we got my girl Death over there. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so let me put these back here. So here you go. We have our 3 cards. We have Death. We have the 6 of Pence, and we have the 3 of Swords. So, of course, like, we pulled the 2 cards that I said really stood out to me. Okay, so let's see. How would we put this together for... Okay, so I always see death not as a literal death. Usually I see that more like for the 10 of Swords is like a very abrupt ending, almost like the Tower, or like shaking things up, abrupt ending, and then sometimes literal death, where as the Death card itself to me is more speaks of transformation and something new occurring, and sometimes that can be quite painful. However, I think that in this particular reading, this change that somebody might be going through, and who knows, this could also be speaking to me, that the universe is gifting you with this change. That it's not, punishing you, or what did I do wrong, or why me, and why does it always seem like me that, horrible things happen to and nobody else. It's because you're the one that will need these changes in order to get to where you need to go. And so I definitely see the universe is giving you this gift of the Death card. And then over here with the 3 of Swords, this might actually speak more towards the situation, where mentally you might feel really conflicted, where because of this change, you might feel like this, well, how come, then even though I didn't really like, the transformation that took place, it didn't feel good at the time, some awesome things came out of it. And then you start to feel a little guilty, mentally you're like, oh, maybe, I didn't deserve this, and things like this. And, there are other people that are more deserving than me. And I just really see with this being in the center card that the universe is just saying, we wouldn't be giving you this opportunity if you didn't deserve it. We wouldn't be gifting you with this change if you didn't deserve it. So just to remind you to get out of this mindset of being undeserving, you know, conflicted in that thinking of like, oh, you know, because you've been through a lot, you know, the transformation was difficult, and you've worked really hard, so you definitely deserve whatever comes from this change. Okay, so that, again, it's just a very general reading. It's not going to speak to everybody, but, you know, pieces of it may speak to some people out there, and I hope that you receive this message. Okay, so that's it for me, spiritual homies. I hope that you liked the review of the Tarot de la Nuit, the Tarot of the Night, and I just like saying that. It's very pretty. Yeah, and if you guys dug this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding, ding, ding notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading with me, a more in-depth one-on-one reading, then head over to www.kittenswaitsandtarot.com. I have so many different types of reading for you guys. And I have other things in my shop as well, such as bracelets, I have salves, I have body and room sprays. So definitely check out my shop. I got a lot of stuff for you guys. And head over to patreon.com/kittenswaitsandtarot to join that KWT tribe, as I need all the support and help I can get in order to get my Wally Oracle off the ground. There are a set number of minimum decks that can be printed from this printer, and a lot of the mass printers do require a minimum number of decks to be printed. So it's going to be quite expensive once I have everything that I want for my deck and how I want it. It's going to be quite the chunk of change to plop down for those decks, so that I could start selling them and start, you know, putting them into everyone's hands. So I'm really excited about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my own deck, like I'm gonna be like one of these people. I'm so excited. So anyway, definitely go check that out. And that's it for me, spiritual homies. All right, peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.